welcome to this instructional video on how to successfully fill out the HomeKey Annual Report form. My name is Daniel Herman, and I'm here today with the Multifamily Grants Management HomeKey team. This video will review how to complete the Standard Agreement tab. This tab must be completed for all projects that have reached full occupancy. If you have general annual report questions, I recommend you watch the first video in this series. And if at the end of this presentation you still have any questions, please reach out to your assigned grant management representative and they'll be happy to assist you. So again, this tab should only be appearing if you have reached full occupancy. If this tab is not appearing, please ensure that the selection in the grantee certification and project status, overall site status cell is marked as fully occupied and operational, or interim to perm, fully occupied and operational. So in completing this form, you'll be answering a series of standard agreement compliance questions, where you report on the compliance with your standard agreement. Some of these questions will be a fill in the blank, and some of these questions will be selecting yes, no, and some will be answering with numbers. In question A, the first question asks to briefly describe where you are in the project's proposed scope of work. So in the yellow cell, you will respond whether or not there's still being any work completed for the project or if it's all completed. Question B is asking for the name of the entity that is providing supportive services. And question C is asking to make a selection regarding the coordinated entry system. Is it currently being used for tenant referrals? Yes or no? And if it's not, is a comparable referral system in place? Question D asks if the project has a CEQA exemption or not, and if so, which one? Biggest selection there. Question E asks to enter yes or no if the project is not inputting information to HMIS, and if it is not, if it's exempt or not. Please mark question F whether the supportive services plan has been received by the department. And for the next few questions, they also have to do with the affordability commitments and the waiving rights to income increases. Question G is about affordability commitment written into the standard agreement. So please check your standard agreement Exhibit E to see if you have a 55-year commitment and if you have waived the possibility of any income limit increases. If that requirement is listed there, please mark yes in question G. Then, if marked yes in question G, please enter for question H the percentage of units that are permanently restricted. Then in question I, please mark whether or not you'll be able to comply with the waiver of increased income limits for the selected percentage of units. So, standard agreement could have 55 years, 100% of units, and we waive the right to increase income limits. So please, if that is your standard agreement commitment, please respond if you'll be able to comply with that. The next two questions, J and K, are regarding accessibility requirements also written into your standard agreement. If you have the commitment to exceed state and federal accessibility requirements for units that have features accessible to people with mobility disabilities, please select yes or no in J. And if the type of accessibility unit is for people with hearing or vision disabilities, please select yes or no in question K. And then please enter the percentage of required minimum units of this type. 10%, 15%, mark that in column G. And next, for question L, please select whether or not your standard agreement has a commitment to larger family housing types. And then for question M, please select whether or not the project is subject to AB 1010. So that is an overview of the first part of the standard agreement tab, mostly marking yes or no to a series of questions regarding the commitments in your standard agreement. The next part of the tab is called the unit mix section. And for this tab, you'll be entering information as it appears in your standard agreements as well. And you'll also be providing information as the project is occupied in reality. So the first questions, starting with question N, should be answered according to the commitments written into the standard agreement. So for question N, does your standard agreement have the commitment to serve the specific type of target population, experiencing homelessness, not chronic? And if you select yes, please enter the percentage of units that you need to have a minimum restricted. So, say 50%. Question O asks, do you have an obligation to serve youth? Question P asks, does the project have an obligation to serve people who are chronically homeless? And question Q asks, does the project intentionally target another subpopulation that is not obligated by your standard agreement? So if there's another type of target population, please select yes or no, the percent of those units that need to be restricted. And then in question R, please respond with the type of target population. Then for question S, please let us know if the unit mix has changed since the standard agreement execution. So, have the number of units changed? Are different target populations served? Are there different number of accessible units? If any of that has changed since the standard agreement execution, please select yes to question S. And if that is the case, in question T, please describe what those changes are. And then in question U, please select whether or not HCD has approved of these changes. Has request form been submitted? Has HCD reviewed it? Have they approved it? Have they been made aware? And then after being made aware, have you received a written response? So then, if you did receive a written response from HCD of approval, was a standard agreement amendment executed? If there are any substantial changes to projects, we almost always memorialize them in a standard agreement amendment. And so this helps walk us through, at what stage are we with this change if one has occurred. Question W is a calculated field. If construction was marked as complete, how many units have been constructed, that will be automatically calculated. So then now we have the last part of the tab where we enter in the unit mix as it appears in the standard agreement in Exhibit E. So first you enter the type of target population in columns A through C. So please select the relevant one as marked in the standard agreement. If the target population is marked as NA, then please select the general target population drop-down option. In column E, enter the number of units for that target population. And then column F, mark the number of bedrooms for that target population. So if there are 4 bedrooms for, say, youth, homeless or at-risk youth, and 3 of them are 1 bedroom and 1 of them is a studio, then you'll enter those in as such, separating out the number of units by bedroom type. Then in column G, you will enter the units as they are currently occupied, if they are occupied by that target population. So let's say that the 3 1-bedroom units are occupied by homeless youth. We'll say 3 for that column. But column H is also an opportunity to report if the unit is occupied, but by an occupant that does not match the target population. So let's say, yes, you have 100% occupancy, but this person is not a homeless youth. Maybe they're 30 years old, over what's considered youth. You would mark 1 in this column H. Then columns I through K are for you to enter the number of units that are accessible to persons with mobility disabilities and persons with hearing and vision disabilities. Again, please refer to your requirement in the standard agreement for these numbers, and please refer to your standard agreement for the unit mix information in general. Then last, there's these 2 questions at the bottom of the page. If you did select that you have an occupant in a unit that does not match the target population, as we showed up here, please acknowledge that those units will be filled by the required target population as soon as possible. So this is a self certification for you to say, yes, I acknowledge that I will fill my unit with someone from the target population as soon as possible, or you can say does not apply. And then the last part, if you have a unit that is occupied with someone who's not part of the target population, please provide a narrative explanation for why units are not filled with that required target population, and address perhaps why that's the case. So overall, that is the standard agreement compliance tab. If you still have any questions, please reach out to your signed grant management representative and they'll be happy to assist you. You may also view the other videos regarding the other tabs if you have questions in those sections. And thank you.